Have you been struggling to fill up the Z83 form? Well, I'm going to be helping you understand how to do that. Hi, my name is Khumbudzo. I study the job market, so you don't have to. So today, we will be filling the Z83 form, which will be the government published editable Z83 form. This means that you do not need any third-party tools to be filling this Z83 form. You will literally be just filling it from its editable version. Okay, let's go. So I have taken matters into my own hands and actually downloaded the Z83 form and put it on my website. So you can be able to access this from Khumbu Digitals website. So all you have to do is search for Khumbu Digitals on the search bar and look for my website, okay? When you are on my website, you're going to go to the free resource page. On this page, here is the free resource page, okay? So on this page, I've put together a CV writing guide. I've put together a LinkedIn optimization guide. There is an editable Z83 form from the government. I've put together, there's a CV template, there's a LinkedIn optimization audit checklist, and then also a CV checklist where you can literally go through your documents and see if you have the best quality possible. You just fill your phone, your email address, and your name and click on free download. You're going to receive all of these resources directly from my website. But if you don't want to go to my website, you can also find these in the government departments. Just Google editable Z83 form. It's going to show in searches, right? So let's go. So how do you fill the Z83 form, okay? The first thing that you're going to do is you are going to, of course, find the government circular where the government jobs are being advertised, right? In this case, let's say we want to apply for this administrative clerk role, right? So this is the reference number for the post, and this is the requirements for the role, and these are the responsibilities that you will be holding, and also the contact details of the person for this particular role if you want to ask any questions, right? So here, but the very, very important thing to do, right, is you need to go to the beginning of this circular or the annexure, right? So this is from the provincial administration, the Gauteng Department of Road and Transport, right? Read the instructions there on how you are actually supposed to apply for this job, right? To apply for the below position, please apply online so this is they actually taking online applications in this regard, right? And then for general inquiries, please contact, this is the human resource, right, for the department. And also read the rest of the instructions, like understand the closing date, right? So this role has already closed. I'm just using this as an example, right? In line with the department's employment equity plan, preferences will be given to colored females, Indian females, white female candidates, right? This is because of their employment equity, okay? So when you get rejected here, you should know that they are also following their own employment equity. This has got to do with, does the people that are working at specific departments represent the population and all of that, right? So in this regard, I guess they do not have enough of these kind of people, right? So you being rejected has got nothing to do with you or your CV or your qualifications or anything like that. They are also trying to work around their employment equity plan, okay? This doesn't only happen in private sector, it also happens in public sector, but it also happens in the private sector. So read the job description in the government, also read the rest of the departmental instructions, okay? In line, okay, let's move on. I want us to understand exactly what they want us to do on this post, right? Applicants must utilize the most recent Z83 application form for employment issued by the Minister of Public Service and Administration in line with the Regulation 10 of the Public Service Regulations 2016. All fields in the new Z83 form must be completed, initialed and signed, right? So if you don't sign your Z83 form, if you do not initial the pages, you're not following the instructions. So make sure that you do that, right? Failure to attach the completed Z83 form and a comprehensive curriculum vitae will result in disqualification, okay? So if your form is not filled correctly, they're checking you out, okay? Because guys, remember, the government is receiving over 2,000 applicants per one role. In this case, there's only one post that has been advertised. There's probably going to be 2,000 people that are applying for this job. You really need to sit down and look at everything and make sure that you follow the instructions to the T. Okay, so read. Right, so and then they say the new Z83 form is obtainable from the Public Service Department or the DPSA website. Right, this is where you can download the Z83 form, but I've also downloaded it on my website if you want to use my website so that you can get the rest of the documents. But you can download it here. Only shortlisted candidates who meet all the requirements of the post will be required to submit certified copies of qualifications, identity document, and valid driver's license where driving or traveling is an inherent requirement of the job, not older than 6 months. All shortlisted candidates, including the SMS, shall undertake 2 pre-entry assessments. Okay, so before I even go on, you see the instruction there. You do not need to attach your ID, your qualifications, and everything on this application. You just need to attach your CV, and you just need to attach your filled and signed initialed Z83 form. That's how you're going to get in, right? Otherwise, if you don't follow any of these instructions, they're going to check you out. So if you attach your qualifications, it's a red flag. You are showing them that you do not know how to actually follow instructions. Okay, so let's move on. So you're going to have to go through the assessments. One will be practical. One will be a practical experience to determine a candidate's suitability based on the most technical and generic requirements, and other must be an integrity, ethical conduct assessment. Oh, my brain is fried. Okay, so I'm not going to read the rest of the things. I think we understand. So the point of this is to really get you to read, right? But it's okay, let me read here. It's the department's intention to promote equity through the filling of all the numerical targets as contained in the employment equity plan. To facilitate this process successfully, an indication of race, gender, and disability status is required by the South African Qualifications Authority. The department reserves the right not to appoint. If you do not receive any response from us within 3 months, please accept your application as unsuccessful. Now we are going to start to fill our Z83 form, right? So pay attention. The first thing, position for which you are applying for as advertised, right? So we're going to go to our circular, and you're going to go to the job that you want to apply to, right? So this is the job we want to apply to. This is the job title, and this is the reference number for the job, right? So it says administrative clerk. Okay, so you're going to go there to your circular and put in administrative clerk, right? And then the department where the position was advertised. Okay, before that, let's put the reference number. I'm just going to copy and paste the reference number, because one thing I know about myself is I'm really bad with numbers. So I might put the numbers that are not there. Make sure that you copy the correct reference number, because this is how they know which job you're applying to, right? And then the department in where the job is advertised. So you're going to go and check at the beginning of the department. As you see, this is another page. This is another department. So just pay attention to that so that you understand which department you're applying to. Okay, so here the provincial administration, Gauteng Department of Road and Transport, right? So you're gonna put that provincial administration, Gauteng Department of Road. Okay, this is too long, so we're gonna remove this part, right? Because it doesn't take a lot of text. I don't know why they made it like that, but I guess they already know which departments, right? Gauteng Department of Road and Transport. Okay, there we got it. I like to put the caps at the beginning, so I'm gonna do that. Okay. Letter T and capital letter R, right? I just like it to look clean. If you are offered the position, when can you start? or how much notice must you serve. So let's say, for example, you're supposed to serve a 1 month notice, all right? So you're just gonna put it there that you're gonna need to serve a 1 month notice so that they know that you're gonna have to serve notice. Okay, your date of birth, you're gonna start with a day. So as you can see, it says day, month, and the year, all right? So you're gonna write your date, the day you were born, the month you were born in, and the year you were born in, and you get out of the box. You can see there it's showing already. So just make sure that you check, because when I started with this, it kept on putting November, which I don't know why, but now it's now picking up accurately. Then here you're gonna put your ID number, right? I'll just put a random number because I don't want you guys to have my ID number. So there is, right? And then if you have a passport, you're going to put your passport number, and then race, right? I'm African. Make sure you add and put the accurate one. Gender, tick the accurate one. If you're a woman, you're going to click on female. If you have a disability, you're going to click on disability, but I don't have, so I'm going to click on no. And then, are you a South African citizen? Yes, right? Then, do you have a valid work permit? Only if non-South African, right? So, okay, if no, what is your nationality? So here, I've watched, guys, a bunch of videos from people that are working in recruitment for the government, right? There's a debate on whether or not you should be saying anything here. Ideally, you shouldn't, because it only applies if you are not a South African citizen, right? So you're gonna add the nationality that you are, right? But in this case, as a South African citizen, it doesn't apply to me. So some says write something, some says don't. Some prefer you write in not applicable. So I would recommend that you just write in NA. Okay, not applicable, because it's not applicable to you, right? So you're gonna do that. Do you have a valid work permit to work in South Africa? Yes or no? You don't really have to have a permit because you're already a South African citizen. So this doesn't really apply to you. So, yeah, people feel differently about this. Some says find a space to write something here, NA. But I'm gonna skip, because only if you are a non-South African you feel this part, right? So I'm gonna skip it. But find out, if you know someone that works in the government, recruiting for the government, please do find out whether or not you should be filling here. Yeah. Have you ever been convicted or found guilty of an offense, including admission of guilt? If yes, provide details. So I'm going to put no, but if you can put yes, right? Then provide details. So I don't have any details, so I'm just going to say not applicable to me, right? So, and then, do you have any pending criminal case against you? If yes, provide details. I have no. So then again, this is what I'm learning from people that are recruiting. Some says, yeah, we want you to fill everything. Some says no. So if things doesn't apply to you, you're not really supposed to fill it, but it is what it is. Okay, if yes, provide details. So here I'm also going to put a not applicable. If you're recruiting for the government, please do comment down below. I want my people to learn from you. So tell us what you prefer, whether or not to fill or not. Just comment. Do you have any pending disciplinary case against you? If yes, provide details. I'm going to say no. And then I'm still going to keep on writing not applicable on anything that is not applicable to me. Right? Then, have you resigned from a recent job pending any disciplinary proceeding against you? No. If you do, yes, and then you specify. If yes, please note that the provisions of the Public Service Act shall apply. I don't even know what that means. Okay, so I'm gonna say not applicable again, right? Okay, no, here I can skip, but let me just put not applicable, because there's different things that people say about this form, okay? But here they didn't ask for me to explain anything, right? Or describe anything, give details. They're just giving notice that this will apply. Have you been discharged or retired from the public service on grounds of ill health or non conditions that you cannot or on condition that you cannot be employed. You will say no. If yes, you will put yes, right? Then, are you conducting business with a state, or are you a director of a public or a private company conducting business with a state? Okay. If you have a business that is getting tenders from the government, you are doing business with the state, you must specify here, yes. If you don't, like myself, I'm going to say no. Okay. Provide details. Then you're going to provide details. I'm just going to say not applicable, right? And then moving on, in the event that you are employed in the public service, will you immediately relinquish your business interest? You're supposed to say yes here, otherwise you're not supposed to be working for the government, okay? You're supposed to just say yes, that you're going to stop whatever that you're doing with the government. Please specify the total number of years of experience you have. So here, they say you're going to specify if you've worked in the private sector. Some say it's supposed to be relevant experience. Okay, so if you're applying for a job as an administrative clerk, it has to be experience around that. So you're going to write the number of years you have in public sector. Let's say, for example, you've worked for 2 years in private, and then you've worked for maybe 3 years in the public sector. You're going to put that, but it has to be relevant experience. That's what I learned from people that works in HR in the government sector, right? If your profession or occupation requires official registration, provide date and particulars of registration. So this is when you are maybe a healthcare professional, for example, you're supposed to be registered with the DPSA. If you are a nurse, you are supposed to be registered with the South African Council of Nursing. So if you don't have that, you're not actually ideally supposed to fill, but I'm just going to write not applicable, right, in this case, because you do not have any registration, right? Okay. This section is supposed to be date. Okay. So I cannot put anything, right? And then you initial, remember the instructions from the job ad, you need to initial every single page, right? So you're going to put your initial there, right, on the page. I'm trying to move it up, but it don't want. Okay, but it's fine. There we've initialed the page, right? Then you're gonna move on to the next page. Each application of employment form must be duly signed. Okay, initialed. Okay, we know that, right? So contact details, correspondence methods for. So here, this is contact details and medium of communications. Preferred language of correspondence. Write the language that you are comfortable with, guys, because sometimes if you are not comfortable with English, you can write your mother tongue. Method for correspondence, what do you prefer? I personally prefer an email, right? And the interesting thing is you can't pick multiple, so you can pick one. Contact details in terms above, right? So you're going to put your email address. So I'm going to put info if you want to reach out to me. This is my business email. So if you need my services for CV writing and LinkedIn optimization, here you will find me. Info at Khumbu Digitals.com. You can send us an email there. Okay. Then let's come to languages. South African official languages, proficiency, state good, fair, or poor, right? Speak. So you're going to state the language here. Right, so let's say, for example, let's start with English. Right, how good are you? I'll say good. And then right, I'm also good. And then my home language, Chivenda. Right, I'm good. And then I will put let's say isiZulu, ngiyakwazi ukusikhuluma, so ngizothi ngigude ngesiZulu ukusikhuluma. But then when it comes to read, I can fairly read isiZulu, right? And then maybe let's add Xitsonga, right? And then Xitsonga, I am good in speaking, but I can probably read Xitsonga. And then, yeah, let's just say this is my languages, right? So moving on to formal qualifications from highest to the lowest. So you start with your highest qualification. If you have a degree, which is your highest qualification, you start with that, followed by the other qualifications that you have. So if you have a degree and a diploma and a certificate, you're going to do that, right? So in this case, a name of school or a technical college. So I went to the University of Venda, right? That is the name of the institution I went to. And then name of qualifications. Qualification, I did a BSc in nutrition, right? I'm just giving an example. It's not even related to the job I'm applying to. These not nutrition jobs. And then year obtained, I got my qualification in 2014. And then I also did a course with Boston University, right? Now this is university. University. English spelling. If there's one thing that will always kill me. Okay, Boston University, and this is a post graduate program. I'm just giving an example. In pediatric nutrition, right? So that is the other qualification or certificate that I have, and then I did it in 2019. Let's just say 2019. There you go. So you're gonna fill the rest of your qualifications there, just like that, right? So if you are currently studying, also you can add if you're currently doing a particular qualification, okay? You will write the name of the institution and the qualification. Let's say, for example, I'm doing my master's. Let's say University of Venda, and I am doing maybe let's say a master's in public health. I'm just giving an example. I'm not studying. Sure, I prefer that you do capital letters. It just makes things look clean. Okay, so you're gonna put it like that, and then work experience. Also attach a detailed CV, right? So now here, your employer, your current, including current employer. Who is your employer? What position did you hold? From when to when, and why did you leave? Right? That's what you're gonna fill. So let's say, for example, I worked for Clicks before. Okay, I'll probably start with my current employer, but let's say I work for Clicks now, right? And I am currently working as a nutrition sales advisor, right? I started working, you start with the month. So I started working somewhere in May, and that was in, let's just say 2022, right? I started working there. And then if you are still currently working here, you are not supposed to put anything here because you are still working here. It's still to present, right? And then also the reason you have not left. So this is your current role, right? Okay. Then you go to your previous one, you put, let's say, for example, I worked for this company, right? And then I was working as a nutritionist. You see, these things are not even related. So let's say, for example, I started working there in June, let's say 2025, right? And from and then this is 2. to the end. When did I stop working there? Maybe let's say I stopped working somewhere in December. Okay, this is picking up the wrong side. This one is supposed to be blank, and then we're filling on this. Okay, on this one. So let's say it was in December and let's say just in 2015, right? Why did you leave? Okay, let's just say 2020. I want us to match. So make sure that when you fill this section, right, it doesn't leave any career gaps if you don't have any career gaps, okay? But if you do have career gaps, of course, you're right. So let's say, so I stopped working here in May. I'm still working here, but I started working here in May, so 2022. So let's say I stopped working here, not in December, but let's say in April, right? So in April 2022. And why did you leave? Maybe better opportunities. All right. And then you can do that with the other role as well. So you can only list 3 here. If you were previously employed in the public sector, is there any condition that prevents re-employment? You will tell them yes or no, right? If there's anything that prevents re-employment, I don't know why would you would be applying, right? If yes, provide the name of the previous employing department. And indicate the nature and condition. So what exactly did you do there? So in this regard, I'll just put not applicable, but you can give the reason why, there's any conditions that prevents you from being reappointed. Okay. And then your references, guys, references. And this is where I always say that references are not necessarily supposed to be on your CV, because in the government sector, if you apply for government jobs, this sits here. So you can put the name, let's just say Khumbudzo Lidobo, right? And 0826654221, whatever. And oh no, so no, this is not the right section. Here you put the relationship, right? So let's put people that can vouch for us from a professional perspective, like somebody that you've worked with before. So maybe let's say, for example, I was your manager. Manager, right? And this is my phone number, so you're gonna put the phone number there, right? Okay, and then you're gonna do the same for everybody else that is under that, and then you're gonna sign, guys. If you do not sign your Z83 form, it's as good as not even being there, right? So in order for you to sign, there is a button that says draw, right? You click on draw. Okay, it's going to give you a pen, right? And then if you click on the pen, you see you can be able to choose the color you want to sign with, right? In this case, we're going to use black. And then you can also control the thickness of the pen. You want to make it as thick as thin as possible so that it looks like this, right? So I had already signed, but I'm still going to sign. So here I'm using a mouse, so it's not going to give like an accurate thing. So if you're using something like an iPad, or if you are using your cell phone, it's very easy because you can just use your finger to put in a signature, okay? So in this regard, as you can see, they are signed, right? Now, then you're gonna click again on draw so that it can go back. Then you want to now fill in the date that you filled this form. So today is the 31st of 03 of March 2026. Yeah. And then you're going to initial the page again. Okay. Now we are done filling our form. Here is the Z83 form. All right. You're going to click on save. Okay. You're going to save it. Okay. There is our new Z83 form, right? You're going to save it where you want to save it. Okay. So you can rename it. Okay, you can put your name, surname, and the job you're applying to. Maybe, let's say, Khumbudzo Mozierana, administrative clerk, admin clerk, right? So Z83, so that it's easy for the people that are reviewing your application, okay? Z83. And then you save the document. There we go. We've saved our document, right? So now let's go to our documents and see if the document is there, right? So there is our Z83 form. Okay, it's filled. Here it is. Well, some of the things are not okay. They updated. Okay, so everything else is there. You can see my signature, my initialing, and everything. So I want us to do a quick test to see, because sometimes when you fill something digitally like this, you find that it's not populating, okay? So we're gonna send it to myself, and I wanna see if it's gonna show up filled properly, okay? So I have emailed the form to myself, and here it is. Okay, you probably won't be able to see, but the form is filled and signed. Okay, so make sure that you test that to make sure that the form is going to update properly when you're sending your application. And that's how you fill the Z83 form. If you need any support with CV writing, LinkedIn optimization, or career visibility as a whole, please do reach out on my website, khumbudigitals.com. I'm going to put the link down below. I'm also going to put the link to all the resources that I have spoken about that you can also use to ease your job search journey. And thank you so much for your time. And it's Tuesday at work. That's why I'm wearing this bow tie. So don't be surprised why is Khumbudzo so dressed up today. No. It's just work. Okay. Thank you. Bye.